protesters are fast-moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
A bit earlier at about 7 a.m., a group from the coast.
Welcome to #P8Vote 2013.
Today on Rappler. Earthquake death toll rises to at least 78 in central Visayas, Cebu and Bohol, now under a state of calamity. The magnitude 7.2 quake damages centuries-old churches and heritage sites. And U.S. Senate leaders close in on a deal to end the government shutdown.
Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The provinces of Cebu and Bohol are under a state of calamity after a magnitude 7.2 earthquake strikes central Visayas and leaves at least 78 people dead. The two provinces' local governments declare the state of emergency hours after the quake destroys buildings, bridges, and historic churches. Placing a province under the state of calamity allows the government to use calamity funds and freeze the prices of basic goods. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOX, says the quake struck at 8:12 a.m. with its epicenter in the town of Carmen, Bohol. More than 200 aftershocks followed the earthquake. At least 78 people are killed, with Bohol reporting most of the casualties. Bohol Police Chief Senior Superintendent Dennis Agustin says at least 68 people are confirmed dead in the province, while 200 more are injured. In Cebu, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council reports at least 9 people dead and at least 54 others injured. One person also died in Siquijor, while 3 others are injured. The Social Welfare Development also reports stampedes in Pinamungahan and Toledo City in Cebu during the distribution of payouts of the government's Conditional Cash Transfer Program. 1 child died and 15 others were injured in the 2 incidents. Authorities are struggling to reach or contact damaged areas in the aftermath of the quake, with power lines and phone networks down. Some of the oldest churches in the Philippines fall to the force of this magnitude 7.2 earthquake. It shook Bohol, Cebu, and other parts of the Visayas and Mindanao. The Heritage Conservation Society says the quake damaged at least 10 historic churches, including the famous Lobok Church in Bohol and Santo Niño Basilica in Cebu. The Church of San Pedro Apostol in Lobok is famous for being the second oldest church in Bohol. Its intricate facade completely crumbled, while its bell tower is now reduced to a stump, with the bell now lying on the ground. Cebu's Basilica Minore del Santo Niño is also heavily damaged. Its belfry collapsed, while cracks are found in the walls of the main structure. The Heritage Conservation Society says the destruction of the iconic churches emphasizes the need to restore these national treasures. It urges the government to fund periodic maintenance to protect the churches from similar incidents in the future. 3 cultural agencies, the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, National Historical Commission of the Philippines, and the National Museum will lead efforts to rehabilitate the heritage structures damaged by the quake. President Benigno Aquino says the earthquake that struck central Visayas is a chance to improve the government's disaster response. Hours after the quake, Aquino acknowledges the challenge and difficulty of assessing damaged towns, but he says the quake is a chance to improve how assessments are made. Among other things, the president suggests closer coordination among authorities, refining geohazard maps, getting information from citizens, and moving informal settlers to communities that are, quote, safer and more resilient with disasters. Aquino set to visit Cebu and Bohol, the worst-hit provinces, on Wednesday. Agencies continue to monitor the aftermath of the earthquake. The Social Welfare Department allots 10 million pesos for relief goods for the victims in Region 7. The department says more than 340,000 families in Bohol and Cebu are affected. Senate President Franklin Drilon says senators will decide in a caucus whether to take an individual or collective stand to abolish the pork barrel in the 2014 budget. In a television interview, Drilon says 17 senators, including himself, are in favor of totally scrapping the Priority Development Assistance Fund, or PDAF. but he says the Senate must discuss how to go about it. Drilon says the 17 senators can manifest to remove the 200 million pesos allotted for each of them, or all 24 senators can decide as a body to scrap their PDAF, reducing the budget by 4.8 billion pesos. There are calls to abolish the PDAF following the pork barrel scam, where lawmakers allegedly channeled funds to fake non-governmental organizations in exchange for kickbacks. The House of Representatives realigned 25.4 billion pesos in PDAF to 6 executive departments in the 2014 budget, with lawmakers still allowed to recommend projects. Critics, though, say this is still pork, just given another name. The Liberal Party denies links with a supposed associate of alleged pork barrel scam mastermind Janet Napoles, but fails to answer questions about Napoles' ties with Senate President Frank Drilon. In a statement, the LP denies fielding Candaba Mayor Rene Manglange as its official candidate in the 2013 polls. The party says he is neither a member nor an official of the LP, contrary to claims of whistleblower Sandra Cam in a story of the Manila Standard today. In the story, Cam says Manglange became the official LP candidate for Candaba Mayor in May 2013. But LP spokesman Erin Tañada says the LP has no hand in the selection of candidates in Candaba, and that Cam's claims were, quote, fueled by malice and were full of inconsistencies. Eastern Samar Representative Ben Everdone also refutes Cam's claims, saying she is, quote, lying through her teeth. The list of official candidates in the Commission on Elections website shows Manglange ran as an independent candidate. But in a story reported by state-run Philippine news agency in June, Manglange said he entered into a, quote, strong alliance with the Liberal Party. A March report of Sunstar Pampanga also said Manglange joined the Team Pinoy senatorial candidates in a Pampanga sortie. A photo Cam provided the Manila Standard shows Drilon standing beside Manglange on the campaign stage with Team Pinoy senatorial bets. While the LP addresses Cam's claims about Manglange's membership in the party, it's silent about questions regarding Drilon's ties with Napoles. Cam says Drilon and Napoles knew each other as far back as 2005. She also says Napoles is Drilon's biggest financier, saying she gave 100 million pesos for the campaign of the administration ticket Team Pinoy. But the LP statement says Drilon has, quote, consistently denied any involvement with Napoles. After photos of Drilon and Napoles circulated in September, Drilon admitted meeting Napoles in social gatherings, quote, less than 10 times. But Drilon says none of his pork barrel funds went to Napoles' fake NGOs. The Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, or PhilHealth, defied warnings by the Commission on Audit, or COA, when it gave officials and employees bonuses and allowances that totaled 1.448 billion pesos. In a report released October 10, COA says PhilHealth management ignored its repeated warnings to stop paying its personnel unauthorized stipends based on resolutions passed by its board of directors. But the central and regional offices of PhilHealth tell auditors they would stop releasing allowances if the COA central office denied the appeal. While PhilHealth personnel enjoyed huge allowances, the agency's reserved fund falls 3.8 billion pesos short of the minimum required. COA says personnel services and maintenance and other operating expenses went up by 410 million pesos because of the, quote, continuous granting of personnel benefits and allowances which were disallowed in audit due to lack of legal basis. The Muslim community celebrates the Eid al-Adha, or the Feast of Sacrifice, Tuesday. Muslims celebrate the holiday to commemorate the story of Ibrahim's trust in Allah and the proof of faith through sacrifice. In the Philippines, Filipino Muslims pray at dawn at the grounds of the Carino Grandstand. The chair of the government panel in peace talks with the Moro Islamic Liberation Front also says it's, quote, serendipitous that this year's Eid al-Adha falls on the first anniversary of the signing of the Framework Agreement on the Bangsamoro. Panel chair Miriam Ferrer adds, perhaps we're being told that the delays and roadblocks are all part of the pilgrimage that we must endure in order to complete our tasks. The government and the MILF are 2 annexes away from signing a final peace pact. Eid al-Adha marks the end of the Hajj, or the annual pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca. Millions of Muslim pilgrims converge in Muzdalifah after a day of prayer on Mount Arafat. U.S. Senate leaders appear close to a deal that could end the government shutdown and raise the debt ceiling to avoid a U.S. default. If Congress does not raise the $16.7 trillion debt ceiling by Thursday, the U.S. government will run out of money and could start defaulting on its obligations. Senate Republicans will review a plan hammered out between Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid and Republican Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. The Politico news organization says the deal would fund government through January 15 and raise the debt ceiling until February 7. Both Reid and McConnell say they're optimistic they will reach a deal acceptable to both sides. If the Democratic-led Senate reaches an agreement, Republican Speaker John Boehner will have to win the support from his conservative coalition in the House of Representatives to approve the measure and send it to President Barack Obama. Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 5, Chinese brands struggle against big Western and Japanese rivals in the global contest for business. Marketing consultancy Interbrand says no Chinese brand is part of the world's top 100. PR firm CEO Richard Edelman says brand China has many problems: transparency, ethical practices, treatment of employees, and the quality of products. At number 7, a suspected bomb blast shakes a luxury hotel in Myanmar's main city, Yangon, Tuesday, injuring one American guest. The Traders Hotel, located at the heart of Myanmar's commercial hub, is popular with tourists and visiting businessmen. The incident is the latest in a series of bomb blasts by unknown perpetrators. And at number 10, social news website BuzzFeed announces plans for French, Spanish, and Portuguese editions in a bid to expand the website's reach. The international sites will use native speakers of French, Spanish, and Portuguese who are learning English. It will use the algorithmic translator of online language site Duolingo. BuzzFeed claims to have some 80 million monthly unique viewers for its news site. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Apple announces the hiring of Burberry CEO Angela Ahrens, the second fashion CEO to join the tech giant in the last 3 months. Last July, Apple hired former Yves Saint Laurent CEO Paul Deneuve as its vice president for special projects. Ahrens takes on a newly created position as senior VP of retail and online stores. Some industry watchers believe the move is related to the much speculated iWatch. Apple has yet to confirm the existence of the device, but CEO Tim Cook says the field of wearable computing is, quote, incredibly interesting. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page. That crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have affected our viewers and readers the most emotionally. If you take a look on today's front page, the mood navigator shows the top 10 stories that have gotten the most number of votes. Today's top story, sad. Strong quake rocks Visayas. This is at the beginning, at least 28 dead. You had 23% afraid, 61% sad. The immediate impact, heart-wrenching, heartbreaking. 10 iconic churches in Bohol and Cebu damaged, 92% sad. And 7.2 quake devastates Bohol, Cebu, 85% sad. Strangely, despite today's top story, the story that's gotten the most number of votes is actually yesterday's, the day the traffic stopped. For Iglesia, 41% angry, 28% happy. Story with the most number of votes on the mood meter. LGU suspend classes for the medical mission of the INC. That has 61% angry, leading to the mood of the day. Today, most people are angry. Well, that is Rappler's Newscast for the day, Tuesday, October 15, 2013. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today. It's the clarity of the camera.
That's a different thing.